Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we are going to start the 7th chapter of Canto 2. And just a quick overview of what we've done so far in the first 6 chapters. Sukadeva Goswami congratulates Parikshit Maharaj on his questions and also on his commitment. He was cursed to die in 7 days' time. And immediately he left his home, his family, and he went to the banks of the Ganga. And he waited for the sadhus to arrive. And when they came, especially Parikshit Maharaj, he inquired, what is the duty of one who is about to die? It's a principal question. And so Sukadeva Goswami in the second canto begins to answer this glorious question. One should remember the Lord at the end of one's life. But that is achieved by constant chanting of the holy names of the Lord throughout one's life. So this is really amazing book, because scripture, because it gives you direct information about how one should live in this life and go back to the spiritual world. Oh, you can't hear me. Oh, you can't hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Maybe Kaushalya Maji, go out and come back in again. Maybe it's your side. That might be the issue. Hare Krishna, anyway. Thank you for joining. Wow.
Hare Krishna.
Very good. So then another part, another point made in the first 6 chapters, better a moment of full consciousness than a life completely wasted. So sometimes, actually, you can see this. Just go out and come back. You still can't see it's interesting. Just see what's happening. Let's try this. Okay, so then the Virat Roop is described that we saw very much last week when we read chapter 6. Detachment is advised in the world of names and how the yogi leaves the body. That's another description. In the world of names, here, you know, everything is effectively the world of names because it's temporary. It's going to last only for a short period of time, and then it'll be finished. So there's no substance to it. That's what it means by world of names. There's no permanence to it. By association of the devotees, one can attain Godhead, and Krishna Katha increases our life. Because Krishna is in charge of time. So if we take shelter of Krishna, then that time, instead of destroying us, will take us back to the spiritual world. Parikshit asks about creation, and after offering prayers and obeisance to Lord, Sukadeva Goswami relates the conversation between Brahma and Narada, which is the conversation that we are talking, we are into. And Narada wonders why Brahma does austerities. Why? He is asking his father, you're the greatest. Why do you have to do austerities? Is there somebody more powerful than you? And Brahma explains the supreme possession of Narayan, the primary creator, and how the Lord gives him darshan and empowers him after Brahma performs tapasya. And then last week we saw the description of Karadaksha Vishnu breathes out and millions of universes come out of the pores of his body. Into each universe, he further expands as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, from whose navel sprouts the lotus upon which Brahma is born. And then the third Vishnu expands as Shirodaksha Vishnu, super soul, into everybody. So whoever has a body in this world, there are two souls in it. We are there, but also bodies there as super soul. So let's go to chapter 7, which is entitled The Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. So here, Sukadeva Goswami explains the different types of incarnations. So let's. Okay, so Naniben, would you like to read the English and then the Leela very kindly, we missed her. She went.
You want to read the English translation, Prabhuji, did you say?
Yeah. After Ananda Leela reads the.
Okay. Okay. For these words or continue till you tell me?
We can do maybe 10 to 10.
10. Okay. Okay.
Or I can tell you when. The first lot is going to be, up to 22. You can do up to 22.
Okay.
Okay, so Ananda Leela, over to you. I hope you can see the screen. Are you there, Ananda Leela?
Oh, yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to all devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shrinityananda Chandram Patita Sharanadam Gauradam Tam Bhajeham Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nasta Prayeshva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 2, Chapter 7, Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. Brahmovacha Yatro Yatah Kshiti Taluddharanaya Bhibrat Krodim Tanum Shakalaya Yamayim Anantaha Antar Maharnava Upagatamadidetyam Tam Tam Strayadrimiva Vrajradharu Dadara.
Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime just to leave the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called Garbhaloka, the first demon Hiranyakashipu appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his husk.
Jato ruchera janayat suyaman suyagya akuti sunuramaranath dakshinayam lokatrayasya mahatim maharatyarthim swayam bhuvena manuna haririti anuktaha.
The Prajapati first begot Suyagna in the womb of his wife Akuti, and then Suyagna begot demigods headed by Suyama in the womb of the wife Dakshina. Suyagna, as the Indra-deva, diminished very great miseries in the three planetary systems, upper, lower, and intermediate. And because he so diminished the miseries of the universe, he was later called Hari by the great father of mankind, namely Swayambhu Manu.
याङ्ये च कधर्मगृहे द्विजदेवहूत्यां स्त्रीभिः समं नवभिरात्मगतिं स्वमात्रे उच्चेययात्मसमलं गुणसङ्गपङ्कम् अस्मिन् विधूय कपिलस्य गतिं प्रपेदे.
The Lord then appeared as the Kapila incarnation, being the son of the Prajapati Brahman Kardama and his wife Devhuti, along with 9 other women or sisters. He spoke to his mother about self-realization, by which in that very lifetime she became fully cleansed of the mud of the material modes and thereby achieved liberation, the path of Kapila.
अत्रेरपत्यमभिकाङ्क्षता हतुस्तु दत्तो मयाहमिति यद्भगवान् स दत्तः यत्पादपङ्कजपराग पवित्रदेहा योगर्धिमा पुरुभैं यदुहैहयाद्यः.
Great sage Atri prayed for offspring, and the Lord, being satisfied with him, promised to incarnate as Atri's son, Dattatri, Datt, the son of Atri. And by the grace of the lotus feet of the Lord, many Yadus, Hayayas, etc. became so purified that they obtained both material and spiritual blessings.
तप्तं तपो विविद्धलोकसि सृक्षयामि आदौ सनात् स्वतपः सह स चतुःसनोऽभूत् प्राकल्पसम्प्लव विनाष्टमिहात्मतत्त्वं सम्यक् जगादमुनयो यत् अचक्षतात्मन्.
Create different planetary systems, I had to undergo austerities and penance. And the Lord, thus being pleased with me, incarnated in 4 Sanas, Sanak, Sanat Kumar, Sananandana, and Sanatan. In the previous creation, the spiritual truth was devastated, but the 4 Sanas explained it to so nicely that the truth at once became clearly perceived by the sages.
धर्मस्य दक्षदुहितर्यजनिष्ठमृत्यां नारायणो नर इति स्वतपः प्रभावः दृष्ट्वात्मनो भगवतो नियमावलोपं देव्यस्त्वानङ्गप्रतन्नाघटितुं न सीकुः.
To exhibit his personal way of austerity and penance, he appeared in twin forms at Narayan and Nar in the womb of Murti, the wife of Dharma and the daughter of Daksha. Celestial beauties, the companions of Cupid, went to try to break his vows, but they were unsuccessful, for there so many beauties like them before were emanating from him, the personality of Godhead.
कामं दहन्ति कृतिन्नो ननु रोषदृष्ट्या रोषं दहन्तमुत तेन दहन्ति असह्यं सोऽयं यदन्तरम् अलं प्रवेशन् बिभेति कामः कथं नु पुनरस्य मनः शयेत.
Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can, by their wrathful glances, overcome lust and vanquish him, yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord, who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind?
विद्धा सपत्न्युदित प्रतिभिरन्तिराङ्यो बालोऽपि सन्नुपगतस्तपस्य वनानि तस्मादाद्रुव गतिं गृह्णन्ति पश्यन्नो दिव्याः स्तुवन्ति मुनयो यत् उपरि अधस्तात्.
Being insulted by sharp words spoken by the co-wife of the king, even in his presence, Prince Dhruv, though only a boy, took to severe penances in the forest, and the Lord, being satisfied by his prayer, awarded him the Dhruv planet, which is worshipped by great sages, both upward and downward.
यद्वेनम् उत्पथगतं द्विजवाक्यव्रज्र निःस्पृष्टपौरुषभगं निरये पतन्तं त्राद्वार्थितो जगति पुत्रपदं जलेभे दुग्धावसूनिव शुद्ध सकलानि येन.
Maharaja Vena went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmanas chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this, King Vena was burnt with his good deeds and opulences and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son by the name of Pruthu, delivered the condemned King Vena from hell, and exploited the earth by growing all kinds of crops as a produce.
नाभेर्असा वृषभाससुदेवि सूनुर्यो वै चचार समदृग्जदयुगचार्यां यत्पारमहंस्यं ऋषयः पदमामनन्ति स्वस्थः प्रशान्तकरणः परिमुक्तसङ्गः.
The Lord appears as the son of Sudevi, the wife of King Nabhi, and was known as Rishabdev. He performed materialistic yoga to equibalance the mind. This stage is also accepted as the highest perfectional situation of liberation, whereas one is situated in one's self and is completely satisfied.
सत्रे ममास भगवान् हयसिरसाथो साक्षात् स यज्ञपुरुषस्तपनीयवर्णः छन्दोमयो मखमयोऽखिलदेवतात्मा वाचो बभूवुरुसतिः स्वसतोऽस्य नस्तः.
The Lord appeared as the Hayagriva incarnation in a sacrifice performed by me, Brahma. He is the personified sacrifices, and the hue of his body is golden. He is the personified Vedas as well, and the super soul of all demigods. When he breathed, all the sweet sounds of the Vedic hymns came out of his nostrils.
मत्स्यो युगान्तसमये मनुनोपलब्धः क्षोणीमयो निखिला जीवनिकायकेतः विश्रंसितानुरुभये सलिले मुखान्मे आदाय तत्र विजहारः वेदमार्गान्.
At the end of the millennium, the would-be Vaivastamanu of the name Satyavrata would see that the Lord in the fish incarnation is the shelter of all kinds of living entities up to those in the earthly planet. Because of my fear of the vast water at the end of the millennium, the Vedas come out of my Brahma's mouth, and the Lord enjoys those vast waters and protects the Vedas.
क्षीरोदधावमरदानवयुत्थपानाम् उन्मत्तनताममृतलब्धयादिदेवः पृस्थेन कच्छपवपुर्विदधार गोत्रम् निद्राक्षणुद्रिपरिवर्तकशानकन्दुः.
The primeval Lord then assumed the Toto's incarnation in order to serve as a resting place, pivot for the Mandra mountain, which was acting as a churning road. The demigods and the demons were churning the ocean of milk with the Mandra mountain in order to extract nectar. The mountain moved back and forth, stretching the back of the Lord Totos, who, while partially sleeping, was experiencing an itching sensation.
त्रैपेस्तपोरुभयहासनसिंहरूपं क्विद्वा भ्रमद्भ्रकुटिध्रंस्रकरालवक्त्रं दैत्येन्द्रमासु गदयाभिपतन्तमारात् उरो निपात्य विदधारनखैः स्फुरन्नम्.
The personality of Godhead assumed the incarnation of Nrsimhadev in order to vanquish the great fears of the demigods. He killed the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, who challenged the Lord with a club in his hand. By placing the demon on his thighs and piercing him with his nails, rolling his eyebrows in anger, and showing his fearful teeth and mouth.
अन्तः सरसिरुबलेन पदग्रहीतो ग्राहेण युद्धपतिरम्बुजहस्तार्थः आहेदमादिपुरु साखिललोकनाथ तीर्थ श्रवणमङ्गलनामधेया.
The leader of the elephants, whose leg was attacked in the river by the crocodile of superior strength, was much aggrieved. Taking a lotus flower in his trunk, he addressed the Lord, saying, O original enjoyer, Lord of the universe, O deliverer, as famous as the place of pilgrimage, all are purified simply by hearing your name, which is worthy to be chanted.
शुद्बाहरिस्तमराना अरनारथीनम् अप्रमेयस् चक्रायुधः पतगराज भुजाधिरुद्धः चक्रेण नक्रवदनं विनिपात्य तस्मात् धष्टे प्रज्ञ भगवान् कृपयो जहार.
The personality of Godhead, after hearing the elephant's plea, felt that the elephant needed his immediate help, for he was in great distress. Thus, at once the Lord appeared there on the wings of the king of the birds, Garuda, fully equipped with his weapons, the wheel chakra. With the wheel, he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile to save the elephant, and he delivered the elephant by lifting him by his trunk.
यायान् गुणैरवरजोऽपि अदितेः सुतानां लोकान् विचक्रमैमान् यदथाधियन्यः चक्ष्मं वामनेन जगृहे त्रिपदजलेन यज्ञामृते पथि चरन् प्रभुभिर्न चाल्यः.
The Lord, although transcendental to all material modes, still surpassed all the qualities of the sons of Aditi, known as Adityas. The Lord appeared as the youngest son of Aditi, and because he surpassed all the planets of the universe, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. On the pretense of asking for a measurement of 3 footsteps of land, he took away all the land of Bali Maharaj. He asked simply, because without begging, no austerity can take one's rightful possession. No authority can take one's rightful possession.
नाथो बलेरयं मुरुक्रमपादशोचम् आपः शिखाधृतवतो विबुधाधिपत्यम् यो वै प्रतिश्रुतं मृते न चिकीर्षदन्यद् आत्मानं मङ्गमनसा हरये भीमेनि.
Bali Maharaj, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything besides his promise, in spite of being forbidden by the spiritual master. The king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurement of the Lord's third step. For such a personality, even the kingdom of heaven, which he conquered by strength, was of no value.
तुभ्यं च नारद वृषं भगवान् विवृद्ध भावेन साधु परितुस्तौवाच योगम् ज्ञानं च भागवतम् आत्मसतत्वदीपं यद्वासुदेव शरणाविदुरन्यस्यैव.
O Narad, you were taught about the science of God and his transcendental loving service by the personality of Godhead in his incarnation of Hamsa Avatar. He was very much pleased with you due to your intense proportion of devotional service. He also explained unto you lucidly the full science of devotional service, which is specially understandable by persons who are souls surrendered unto Lord Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead.
Chakram chadikshva vihatam dasa suswatejo manvantare sumanuvam sadharo bibharti duste suraja sudamam vyadadhat swakirtim satyeti prishtau satyam pratayam charitrai.
As the incarnation of Manu, the Lord became the descendant of the Manu dynasty and ruled over the miscreant kingly order, subduing them with his powerful wheel weapon. Undeterred in all circumstances, his rule was characterized by his glorious fame, which spread over the three lokas and above them to the planetary system of Satya Loka, the topmost of the universe.
धन्वन्तरिश्च भगवान् स्वयमेव कीर्तिर् नाम्ना नृणां पुरुरुजां रुजा सुहन्ति यज्ञे च भागम् अमृतायुरवावरुन्ध आयुष्य वेदमनुस्तास्ति अवतीर्य लोके.
The Lord in his incarnation as Dhanvantari very quickly cures the diseases of the ever-diseased living entities simply by his fame personified. And only because of him do the demigods achieve long lives. Thus, the personality of Godhead becomes ever glorified. He also exacted a share from the sacrifices, and it is he only who inaugurated the medicinal science or the knowledge of medicine in the universe.
क्षत्रं क्षयाय विधिनो प्रभृतं महात्मा ब्रह्म दृगुजित्तपथं नरकार्तिलीप्सु उदन्ति आसववनीकण्टकमुग्रवीर्यस्त्रिसप्त्र कृत्वा उरुधार परस्वधीना.
When the ruling administrators, who are known as the Kshatriyas, turn astray from the path of the absolute truth, being desirous to suffer in hell, the Lord, in his incarnation as the sage Parshuram, uprooted those unwanted kings who appeared as the thrones of the earth. Thus, his thrice 7 times uprooted the Kshatriyas with his keenly sharpened chopper.
Thank you so much. Amazing. Beautiful chanting, Nandadila. Amazing. These verses are not easy. So well done, fantastic. Let's just do a quick summary of first 22 verses. This chapter is all about the different incarnations and their specific reasons for coming. Most incarnations have a reason to come to this world, and the most common reason that is prevalent through all the incarnations is that they want to reclaim us. They want us back in our constitutional position with the lordships. So that's essentially what they're doing. They're performing these leelas so to attract us back to the spiritual world. So Brahma describes in brief the Leela avatars. Leela means pastimes. Beginning with Varaha, Kapil, Dattatreya, and Sukadeva Goswami gave a little description of each of these incarnations and their purpose. But the underlying purpose is that these incarnations come here to do Leela, pastimes, to show their sweetness to us so we can fall in love with the lordships and go back to the spiritual world. Because at the moment, we've forgotten God. But he's not forgotten us. So the point is that he wants us to remember him. He wants us to love him. And the only way we're going to do that is when he shows his sweetness. And through these various incarnations, he shows his sweetness. And different devotees will have attraction for different avatars. That's why he comes in so many different avatars. Because everybody has different tastes, different likings, different desires. So, according to our requirements, if you like, the Lord appears to entice us back to the spiritual world. So, Dattatreya, 4 Kumaras, Narnarayan, Vishubdev, Yagriv, Matsya, Kurma, Nasimha, Vamat, Hams Avatar, Pitru, Tanvantari, Pashuram. Brahma also describes Dhruv, King Venu, he describes the elephant, the general in his pastimes. So, and the prime purpose of why they came. But there's an underlying purpose behind all of these things. There's only one underlying purpose, and that is to, by performing these pastimes, attract us back to the spiritual world. So, next is up to 25. So, I see Puna Mataji, you're there. Would Shaivi like to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Shaivi is not around. If you want, I can read, Prabhuji.
Sure. Go for it.
Thank you.
So, Ananda Leela, over to you.
Asmad Prashad Sumukha Kalaya Kalesha Ikshvakuvam Savatirya Guru Nideshe Tistanvanam Sa Daitanuja Vishesha Yashmin Viruddhyadasa Khandhararthi Marcha.
Due to his causeless mercy upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his plenary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshvaku as the lord of his internal potency, Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dashrath, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravan, who was very materially powerful with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished.
यस्मा अदात् उदधीर् उद्धाभयांगवेपो मार्गं सपद्यरिपुरं हरवद्धिधाक्षुः दूरे सुहिन्मथितरो ससुसो न दृष्ट्या तातप्यमानमकरो रागनक्रचक्रः.
The personality of Godhead, Ramachandra, being aggrieved for his distant intimate friend Sita, glanced over the city of the enemy Ravan with red-hot eyes like those of Har, who wanted to burn the kingdom of heaven. The great ocean, trembling in fear, gave him his way because its family members, the aquatics like the sharks, snakes, and crocodiles, were being burnt by the heat of angry red-hot eyes of the Lord.
वक्षःस्थलस्पर्शरुण्यमहीन्द्रवाह दन्तेर्विदम्बितककुब्जुषौद्धहासम् सद्यो सुभिः सह विनिश्यति दारहर्तुर्विस्फुर्जितेर्धनुः सौचारतो दिशन्ये.
When Ravan was engaged in the battle, the trunk of the elephant which carried the king of heaven, Indra, broke in pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravan, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravan therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his laughter, overtaken by joy, along with his very air of life, suddenly faced with tingling sound of the bow, suddenly seized with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramachandra, the personality of Godhead.
Sorry about that. That's very good. Thank you for reading that. Lord Rama's pastimes are described in these three verses. How he left for the forest with Sita. Of course, he doesn't have to go to the forest. This is the point about Leela. He performs these pastimes. He doesn't have to perform. He doesn't have to go to the forest. He's the owner of everything. He's the supreme personality of God. There's no need for him to do this, but he does it. He performs these dramas. So when we remember these pastimes, we again associate with the Supreme. We get to understand a little bit about his personality, about his sweetness. So how he left for the forest with Sita, how he lamented for the loss of Sita. God is the ultimate renunciate. The six opulences of the Lord: beauty, fame, knowledge, wealth, power, and renunciation. He doesn't miss anybody, but in order to show us that this world is a tough world, and he lamented like an ordinary human being, and how when the ocean didn't show, he started becoming furious with the ocean, and then the ocean came. Simply with his glance, of course, he was angry. And then how he finally liberated Ravan from his demoniac position. So these are all amazing pastimes of Lord Ramachandra, very powerful incarnation of the Lord. So, you're welcome to carry on if you like.
Yes, Prabhuji. भूमेः सुरेतरावरुद्धविमर्दितायाः क्लेशव्ययाय कलयासीत कृष्णकेशः जातः करिष्यति जनानुपलक्ष्यमार्गः कर्माणि चात्ममहीमोपनिबन्धनानि.
When the world is overburdened by the fighting strength of kings, who have no faith in God, the Lord, just to diminish the distress of the world, descends with his plenary portion. The Lord comes in his original form, with beautiful black hair, and just to expand his transcendental glories, he acts extraordinarily. No one can properly estimate how great he is.
तोकेन जीवहरणं यद् उलोकिकायास्त्रैमासिकस्य च पदासकतु प्रावृतः यद्रिङ्गतान्तरागतेन दिवि स्पृशोर्वा उन्मूलनं त्वयितरथार्जुनयोर्न भाव्यम्.
There is no doubt about Lord Krishna's being the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, how was it possible for him to kill a giant demon like Putana when he was just on the lap of his mother? To overturn a cart with his leg when he was only 3 months old? Or to uproot a pair of Arjun trees so high that they touched the sky when he was only crawling? All these activities are impossible for anyone other than the Lord himself.
यद्वै व्रजे व्रजा पशून् विशतोऽपीतान् पालांस्त्वजीवयद् अनुग्रहदृष्टिवृत्त्या तच्चुद्धयेति विसवीर्यविलोलजिह्वम् उच्चाटयिष्यदुरगं विरहन् हिरदिन्याम्.
Then also when the cowherd boys and the animals drank the poisoned water of the river Yamuna, and after the Lord in his childhood revived them by his merciful glance, just to purify the water of the river Yamuna, he jumped into it, as if playing, and chastised the venomous Kaliya snake, which was lurking there, its tongue emitting waves of poison. Who can perform such Herculean tasks but the Supreme Lord?
तत्कर्म दिव्यमिव यन्निसिनिहसयानं दावाङ्निनासु जीवने परिदह्यमाने उन्नेष्यति व्रजमतो वशितान्तकालं नेत्रेऽपि धाप्य सबलो नधिगम्य वीर्यः.
On the very night of the day of the chastisement of the Kaliya snake, when the inhabitants of Rajbhumi were sleeping carefreely, there was a forest fire ablaze due to dry leaves, and it appeared that all the inhabitants were sure to meet their death. But the Lord, along with Balaram, saved them simply by closing his eyes. Such are the superhuman activities of the Lord.
घ्निता यद्यदुपबन्धं ममुष्य माता सुलभं सुतस्य न तु तदमुष्यमाति यज्जृम्भतोऽस्य वदने भुवनानि गोपी संस्पृक्ष्य सकिन्तमनाः प्रतिबोधितासि.
When the cowherd woman, Krishna's foster mother Yashoda, was trying to tie the hands of her son with ropes, she found the rope to be always insufficient in length, and when she finally gave up, Lord Krishna, by and by, opened his mouth, wherein the mother found all the universes situated. Seeing this, she was doubtful in her mind, but she was convinced in a different manner of the mystic nature of her son.
नन्दं च मोक्षति भयाद् वरुणस्य पाशाद् गोपान् बिलेषु पिहितान्मयसु नूना च आहनीया प्रीतं निशि शयानमतिश्रमेण लोकं विकुण्ठमुपनिष्यति गोकुलं स्म.
Lord Krishna saved his foster father Nand Maharaj from the fear of the demigod Varun and released the coward boys from the caves of the mountain, for they were placed there by the son of Maya. Also, to the inhabitants of Vrindavan, who were busy working during daytime and sleeping soundly at night because of their hard labor in the day, Lord Krishna awarded promotion to the highest planet in the spiritual sky. All these acts are transcendental and certainly prove without any doubt about his godhood.
गोपेर्मखे प्रतिहते व्रजविप्लवाय देवे विभर्सति पशून् कृपया हरिरक्षुः धर्तोचिलिन्ध्रम् इव सप्तदिनानि सप्त वर्षो महीध्रमनघैककर्षलीलम्.
When the coward men of Vrindavan, under instruction of Krishna, stopped offering sacrifice to the heavenly king Indra, the whole tract of land known as Braj was threatened with being washed away by constant heavy rains for 7 days. Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy upon the inhabitants of Braj, held up the hill known as Govardhan with one hand only, although he was only 7 years old. He did this to protect the animals from the onslaught of water.
क्रीडन् वने निशिनिशाकररश्मिगौर्यां रासोन्मुखकलपदायतमूर्छितेन उदीपितस्मररुजां व्रजप्रेद्वधूनां हर्तुर्हरिष्यति शिरोधनदानुगस्य.
When the Lord was engaged in his pastimes of the Ras dance in the forest of Vrindavan, enlivening the sexual desires of the wives of the inhabitants of Vrindavan by sweet and melodious songs, a demon of the name Shankachud, a follower of the treasure of heaven, Kuber, kidnapped the damsels, and the Lord severed his head from his trunk.
ये चाप्रलम्बखराधर्दुरकेश्यरिष्ट मलेभकं सयवनाः कपिपुन्द्रकाद्याः अन्ये च सार्वकुज बल्वलदन्तवक्र सप्तोक्षसम्भरा विदुरथरुक्मिमुख्याः ये वामृधे समिति शालिनाथ चापः काम्भुज मत्स्य कुरु सञ्जय कैकयाध्याः यास्यन्ति अदर्शनम् अलम्बलपार्थ भीम व्याजाः वयेन हरिणा निलयं तदीयम्.
All demonic personalities like Pralamba, Denuka, Baka, Kesa,
Keshi,
Arista,
Chanu,
Chanura, Mastika, Kuvalyapida, Elephant, Kamsa, Yavana, Narakashana, and Panukatra,
Poundrak,
great marshals like Salva, Vivda, Monkey, and Balvala,
Dantavakra,
the 7 bulls, Samba, Vidurta, and fight
and Rukmi.
Rukmi, and lots of great warriors like Kamboja, Matsi,
Kuru,
Guru, Srijaya,
Srinjaya,
and Tikaya would all fight vigorously, either the Lord Hari directly or with Haman's name and Baladeva, Arjun, Bhima,
Beam, etc.
etc., and the demon has been killed, would attain either the impersonal Brahma majority or his personal above in the Vaikuntha planet.
Well done. Amazing. Was that Kathan?
Yes.
Yes,
Amazing.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Very well read. So, these verses are glorifying Krishna. The Lord comes in his original form with beautiful black hair just to expand his transcendental glories. He acts extraordinary. No one can properly estimate how great he is. If Krishna appeared on the earth to diminish the burden of demons such as Putana, he chastised the Kaliya serpent, saved the Brijbasis from a forest fire, showed his mother the universe within his mouth, rescued his father from burning. He lifted Govardhan hill, enjoyed the Ras dance with gopis. There is no doubt about Krishna's being the supreme. Who can perform such Herculean tasks of the supreme? So, beautiful narration by Sukadeva Goswami about the glories of the supreme.
कालेन मिलितधियाम् अवमृश्य निर्णाम् स्तोकायुषां स्वनिगमो बत दूरपारः आविर्हितस्त्वानुयुगं सहि सत्यवत्यां वेदद्रुमं वितपसो विभजिष्यति स्म.
The Lord himself, in his incarnation as the son of Satyavati, Vyasdev, will consider his compilation of the Vedic literature to be very difficult for the less intelligent persons with short life, and thus he will divide the tree of Vedic knowledge into different branches according to the circumstances of the particular age.
देवाद्विषां निगमावर्तमानि निष्ठितानां पूर्भिर्मयेन विहिताभिरधिष्यतुर्भिः लोकान् घिनतां मति विमोहं प्रलोभं वेषं विधाय बहु भाष्यत उपधर्म्यम्.
When the atheists, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge, annihilate inhabitants of different planets, flying unseen in the sky on well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder their minds by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub-religious principles.
यर्हि आलयेष्वापि सतां न हरे कथास्यो पासन्दिनो द्विजजना वृषला निर्देवाः स्वाहा स्वधा वसदिति स्म गिरो न यत्र शास्ता भविष्यति कलेर्भगवान् युगान्ते.
Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exist no topics on the subject of God, even at the residences of so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, and when the power of government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from the low-born Shudra class, or those less than them, and when nothing is known of the techniques of sacrifice, even by word, At that time, the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser.
Hare Krishna. Very good. So let's have a look at these few verses. So this is the Kali Yuga incarnations. In Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear as Vyasdev to deliver the Vedas to the people, as Buddha to give good moral instructions, and finally as Kalki to kill the sins. So as Kalki is scheduled to appear at the end of Kali Yuga, when things are really bad. So you don't want to be around with Kalki descends.
सर्गे तपोहं ऋषयो नवये प्रजेशाः स्थाने धर्ममख मन्व अमरावनिसाः अन्ते त्वधर्महर मन्युवसा सुराज्या माया विभूतया इमाः पुरुषक्तिबाजः.
At the beginning of creation, there are penance, myself, Brahma, and the Prajapatis, the great sages who generate. Then, during the maintenance of the creation, there are Lord Vishnu, the demigods with controlling powers, and the kings of different planets. But at the end, there is irreligion, and then Lord Shiva and the atheists full of anger, etc. All of them are different representative manifestations of the energy of the supreme power, the Lord.
विष्णोनुवीर्यगणनां कतमोरिहतिः यः पार्थिवानि अपि कविर्विममिरजांसि चष्कं भयः स्वरहसाश्खललता त्रिपृष्ठं यष्मात्रिसाम्य सदनादुरु कम्पयानम्.
Who can describe completely the prowess of Vishnu? Even the scientist who might have counted the particles of the atoms of the universe cannot do so. Because it is he only who, in his form of Trivikrama, moved his leg effortlessly beyond the topmost planet Satyalok up to the neutral state of the three modes of material nature, and all were moved.
नान्तं विदामि अहं ममिमुनयोऽग्रजास्ते मायाबलस्य पुरुषस्य कुतो भराये गायन् गुणान् दश शताननादिदेवः शेषोऽधुनापि समावश्यति नास्य पारम्.
Neither I nor all the sages born before you know fully the omnipotent personality of Godhead. So what can others who are born after us know about him? Even the first incarnation of the Lord, namely Shesha, has not been able to reach the limit of such knowledge, although he is describing the qualities of the Lord with 1,000 faces.
येषां स एष भगवान् दययेदनन्तः सर्वात्मनाश्रितपदो यदि निर्व्यलीकम् ते दुष्टरामतितरन्ति च देवमायाम् नैषां ममाहमिति स्वस्तिर्गालभक्षे.
But anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord, can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. But those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so.
वेदाहमङ्गपरमस्य हि योगमायां यूयं भवश्च भगवानथ दैत्यवर्यः पत्नी मनुः स च मनुश्च तदात्मजाश्च प्राचीन भर्हिरिभुरङ्ग उत ध्रुवश्च इक्ष्वाकुरैर्यमुचो कुन्दविदेहगाधी राघवम्बरीश सगरागयनाहुः साध्या मान्धात्र्यलर्कसत धान्वानुरन्ति देवा देवव्रतो बलिरमूर्तरयो दिलीपः सोभरीयुतङ्कसिबिदेवलपिप्पलाद सारस्वतो धवा परासर भूरिसेनः येन्ये विभीषण हनुमद् उपेन्द्रदात पार्थार्थिसेन विदुरसुत देववार्याः.
O Narad, although the potencies of the Lord are unknowable and immeasurable, still, because we are all surrendered souls, we know how he acts through Yogamaya potencies. And similarly, the potencies of the Lord are also known to the all-powerful Shiva, the great king of the atheist family, namely Prahlad Maharaj, Swayambhuva Manu, his wife Shatarupa, his sons and daughters like Priyavrat, Uttanpad, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. Prachinabarhi, Ribhu, Anga, the father of Vena, Maharaj Dhruva, Ikshvaku, Aila, Muchukund, Maharaj Janak, Gadi, Raghu, Ambarisa, Sagar, Gaya, Nahusa, Mandhata, Alarka, Shatadhanve, Anu, Rantideva, Bhishma, Bali, Amrutaraya, Dilip, Saubhari, Uttanka, Shibi, Deval, Piplad, Saraswata, Uddhava, Parasara, Bhurisena, Vibhishana, Hanuman, Shukadeva, Goswami, Arjun, Aratishena, Vidur, Shrutadeva, etc.
ते वै विदन्ति अतिरन्ति च देवमायां स्त्रीशूद्रहूनसबरापि पापजीवाः यद्य अद्भुतक्रम परायणशीलशिक्षास्तिर्याग् जनापि किमु श्रुतधारणाये.
Surrendered souls, even from groups leading sinful lives such as women, the laborer class, the mountaineers and the Siberians, or even the birds and beasts, can also know about the science of Godhead and become liberated from the clutches of the illusory energy by surrendering unto the pure devotees of the Lord and by following in their footsteps in devotional service.
सस्वत् प्रशान्तमभयं प्रतिबोधमात्रं शुद्धं समं सदसत्तः परमात्मतत्त्वं शब्दो न यत्र पुरुकारकवान् क्रियार्थो माया परेति अभिमुखे च विलाज्यमाना तद्वै पदं भगवतः परमस्य पुंसो ब्रह्मेति यद्विदुर् अजस्र सुखं विशोकम्.
What is realized as the absolute Brahman is full of unlimited bliss without grief. That is certainly the ultimate phase of the Supreme Enjoyer, the Personality of Godhead. He is eternally void of all disturbances and is fearless. His complete consciousness as opposed to matter, uncontaminated and without distinctions. He is the principal primeval cause of all causes and effects, in whom there is no sacrifice for fruitive activities, and in whom the illusory energy does not stand.
सद्रियन्नियम्य यतयो यमकर्तहेतिं जहयुः स्वरादिव निपानखनित्रमिन्द्रः.
In such a transcendental state, there is no need of artificial control of the mind, mental speculation or meditation, as performed by the Gnanis and Yogis. One gives up such processes as the heavenly king Indra forgoes the trouble to dig a well.
सश्रेयशामपि विभुर्भगवान् यतोऽस्य भावस्वभावविहितस्य सतः प्रसिद्धिः देहे स्वधातु विगमेनुविसीर्यमाणे व्योमेव तत्र पुरुषो न विसीर्यते जः.
The personality of Godhead is the supreme master of everything auspicious, because the results of whatever actions are performed by the living being in either the material or spiritual existence are awarded by the Lord. As such, he is the ultimate benefactor. Every individual living entity is unborn, and therefore, even after the annihilation of the material elementary body, the living entity exists exactly like the air within the body.
सोऽयं ते विहितस्तात भगवान् विश्वभावनः समासेन हरेणान्यत् अन्यस्मत् सत् असच् च यत्.
My dear son, I have now explained in brief the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is creator of the manifested worlds. Without him, Hari, the Lord, there are no other causes of the phenomenal and nominal existence.
इदं भागवतं नाम यन्मे भगवतोदितं संग्रहोऽयं विभूतीनां त्वम् एतद्विपुलीकुरु.
O Narad, this science of God, Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken to me in summary by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it was spoken as the accumulation of his diverse potencies. Please expand this science yourself.
Thank you so much. So a little pause here, nearly at the end of this chapter. Here the Gunavatars, this section of the Bhagavatam, in this chapter, describes the Gunavatars, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, briefly. Neither Brahma nor all the sages born before them know fully the Supreme Personality of God. Of course, the Brahma that we live through, this the Brahma that is the creator of this universe, through his austerities, he became fully God conscious, and he wrote the Brahma Samhita, which is a treatise about the Supreme Lord. This is a very highly elevated scripture. It gives a lot of description about the Supreme Lord. So what can others who are born after them know about the Lord? Even the first incarnation of the Lord, namely Lord Shesh, has not been able to reach the limit of such knowledge, although he is describing the qualities of the Lord with the 1,000 mouths since time immemorial. So this is, Lord Shesh is the snake. He's got 1,000 hooks, he's got 1,000 mouths. He's glorifying the Lord, but since time immemorial, but we can't find the end to the glories of the Lord. So even the Lord himself doesn't know the limit of his glories. So what to speak of ordinary persons like us? So this is the inconceivable nature of the Supreme. But anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme due to unalloyed surrender onto the service of the Lord can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion. This illusion is here because we are taking something that is temporary to be permanent. And that will invariably cause distress and unhappiness because we are trying to find happiness in a place which is temporary by nature. Because every time we build up a successful life, there's something called death. But even before death, there's something called old age. And before old age, there's something called illness. All these things make this world not a very conducive place to live for the Atma, spirit soul. It's full of illusion. And that person who's surrendered over it, he can understand it. But those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so. So this is the nature of where we are. And Bhagavatam, he does not mince its words, tells it as it is. So now this text 51 is the instruction, or beginning of the instruction by Brahma to Narada. I have given you this Bhagavatam. In summary, I got it from the Lord. Now I want you to expand. So let's see, there's 2 more verses after this. Let's go through those with conclusion.
यथाहरो भगवती निर्नाम भक्तिर्भविष्यति सर्वात्मनि अखिलाधारे इति संकल्प्य वर्णय.
Please describe the science of Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Hari, the super soul of every living being and the summum bonum, source of all energies.
मायां वर्णयतो मुस्य ईश्वरस्यानुमोदतः शृण्वतः श्रद्धया नित्यं माययात्मानमुह्यति. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. हरे कृष्णा.
Well done.
The Lord's activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of illusory energy of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Well done. Sure. Especially Ananda Leela, these were long and challenging verses, so you've done phenomenally well.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I was at the Lord mercy. Sorry for my mistake, Prabhu.
Really merciful.
And thank you for giving me the opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for doing that. My goodness. Well done. Well done. So Lord Brahma said, Narad Muni, the science of God, Bhagavatam, was spoken to me in summary by the Supreme Personality. And it was spoken as the accumulation of his divine potencies, diverse potencies. Please expand this science yourself. Please describe the science of Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service onto the personality of God. So we are very, very fortunate. We got this Bhagavatam. It's due to the mercy of Brahma, Narada, of course, Sri Krishna. Narayan, Lord Vishnu. We are very, very fortunate to have this fantastic gift. And it's not easy, of course. It's challenging scripture. But actually, it's easy as well, because the message is very simple. Perform bhakti, remember the Lord, chant His glories, and one will be fixed in devotion. In that way, become close to the Supreme. So, are there any questions or any comments? That was a long chapter, and it was amazingly done. So, well done. And then we for reading as well. Any questions, any comments? Otherwise, we can continue.
There were lots of new names, Prabhuji.
Yes, lots and lots of new. And later on, we'll see more detail on each and every one of those.
Oh, that will be good. Yeah. Because otherwise, we are not, at least I'm not going to remember them. And it
That's
would be
right.
also interesting to know, some sort of an incident or something associated with them, so that we can remember. It could be a story or, an
That's it.
incident.
That's it.
So,
That's
yeah.
exactly what he does. You must have a crystal ball or something. Huh? That's exactly what he does. He gives an example from each one, so that, as you said, we remember, we understand the purpose and the incident that took place. Very interesting. That's why it's 18,000 verses. It's a lot of verses. So many of the incarnations are described by Narayana and Sukadeva Goswami. So, looking
Sure.
forward to all of those.
Certainly, I am. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you,
Your
Prabhuji.
enthusiasm is really very, very nice, very catching. So very good. Thank you.
Yeah, this is it itself is so sweet. How can you not be, sort of led by the flow? It's like it's the flow of the river, and you just have you effortlessly, seamlessly merge into it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
It's sweet, actually. Yeah. So
yeah. No, it's very good when see, the speaker has to be enthusiastic, but the hearer, when the listener is enthusiastic, it gives more enthusiasm to the speaker. And this is what Sukadeva Goswami says many times in Srimad. Because you are asking these wonderful questions and you're so alert, I feel more inspired to speak. So it's a two-way street. It's really good. It's so nice to have your association. It's very infectious. It's like even if you're tired. I'm tired today, but listening to the recitation, it gives you life. It's just amazing.
absolutely, absolutely. This is my de-stress activity, of the week. I actually look forward to this. Yeah.
Thank you. Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji, and thank you, Anandalila Mataji. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you to all devotees for giving the opportunity. Sorry for my mistakes, lot of mistakes.
You're really good. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.